Oh, oh my God. Sorry, I'm recording. Uh, uh, that's cool, man. Uh, I'm doing my own makeup. I like what we normally see with the serious journalists, if I can say, with the serious TV journalists. They have their own makeup artists with them, and they do the makeup, of course, and that's why they appear handsome for the men and beautiful and gorgeous for the women. That's sort of unfair to use to have more words describing the beauty of women than the ones that can be used to describe the beauty or handsomeness of men. By the way, I'm not here to talk about this. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Umar Isa Dandago, and I'm the founder of Global Arena TV. I'm the chief host here. I've got a couple of young girls, ladies, female university students who are helping me with the presentation of some of my shows. And as you know, Global Arena TV is a channel that normally focuses on the biggest international issues of our time. At the same time, I'm a freelance journalist. Well, of course, I've been a freelance journalist for an extended period of time. I'm currently working here in Kano for Hikima Radio. Very good. We've got a very nice, fantastic building and decoration. This is one of the beautiful studios that we have here at Hikima Radio here in Kano State. I think it's worth telling that I speak here to you about my experience, my very first experience as a full-time journalist of covering an election. And you would be surprised, it's not the election of Nigeria, because the election of Nigeria took place in 2023, at the beginning of 2023. And at that time, I was in my final year at university, very much preoccupied um, and occupied by and with a lot of final year stuff, project, reading materials, preparation for graduation, and stuff like that. There's a lot of other programs and contracts that we were doing at that time. But right now, in November 2024, I have been, I think, one of the most busiest local journalists here in Kano State covering the American politics. A lot of people have been asking me questions about who would be the winner of the election, and I have been giving analysis on Radio France International. We did a Facebook live with their correspondent Abdurrahman Gamba Ahmad in Pennsylvania at that time, covering the election there, anchored, chaired by the editor-in-chief there, Bashir Ibrahim Idris, and it was a very lively conversation. I talked about my understanding and my interpretation of the American politics and the complexities there, and I also talked about the sort of the kind of the caliber of Americans and British that I've been interviewing right before the election, covering or talking about what the election would look like and the possible future or the possible return of Donald Trump, which has now been established that he has returned as the 47th president of the United States of America. I spoke to Daily Trust, not Daily Trust, but Trust Radio in Abuja. They called me together with an analyst, and we spoke a lot, about our own understandings of the American politics and election. I've never been as busy as I have been throughout last week and this week, because a week before the election, 8 days before the election, we started doing live programs or live reporting, live coverage in our 2:30 news, 4:30 news, and 7:30 news, and even the news that we produce here at Hikima Radio as we call it Dunia Labari, which is a sort of which is an interesting kind of news bulletin. I've been engaging a lot of Nigerians living in America. I've been engaging Americans and British for Zoom interviews. Some of them I call them live on my weekly talk show called Hikima Radio in English that we do every Wednesday from 3 to 4 p.m. Even last week when I hosted when Donald Trump, this this week, yeah, because we are Friday. This is Friday. I'm recording this video on Friday, the 8th of November. On Wednesday, when the after the news of Donald Trump's victory broke out at about 3 p.m. I invited for my weekly talk show Hikima on the Week, Ismail M. Ahmad, our Middle East affairs analyst, and we talked a lot about the victory and what it means for the rest of the world. What I did was that I brought an American from the U.S. state of Wisconsin, which was the state that confirmed Donald Trump as the winner of this year's election. I called her. She voted for Kamala Harris, and I called her. The sound of her voice was sort of terrible because she was sort of down, disappointed. By what happened, and so we called her. We asked her questions about how she was feeling, and how what she was doing as kind of preparation for the Trump presidency as an American who's anti-Trump. And after we spoke with her, I called Hugh Fraser, our British commentator who used to work for the BBC as a correspondent in Russia, and with his amazing and astonishing and surprising views for Donald Trump, in favor of Donald Trump and against the establishment, something like that. You would interpret it as that. As that. It was quite interesting. I really enjoyed, but it has been tough, to be honest with you, covering the American election from Kano State, Nigeria, and that is why I am looking for reporters and journalists who have covered the American election in the US, whether they are from different parts, irrespective of their countries and of origin and stuff like that. So I think I'm looking for a Nigerian like Abdurrahman Gamba Hamad. I'm going to have to speak with him, who went to the US to cover the election. I'm going to look for a European journalist who went straight to the US to cover the election, and an American-based journalist who would speak as an American journalist covering his own country's election. It has been very, very tough. And to be honest with you, I've lost a lot of sleep because literally what I did was that, for our news here at Hikima Radio in Hausa, um, I was going to have to sit down, reach out to our contacts in the US to connect us to the people that would be available and that would be willing to speak to us, because we engaged live interviews with them. And there's this issue of time difference. The US now, the East Coast is now 6 hours behind Nigeria. So you're going to have to do some mathematical analysis. You're going to have to do some maths to be able to figure out what time to call someone in the US and what time to host an interview with someone, especially when it is live here in Nigeria. So we did a lot of this. We called, and this is my own way of thanking them for really, really participating on my programs. Whenever I called them, they would say yes. I engaged them in live interviews. I would never forget the kindness that they have done to me. And I have to start by thanking the members and the leadership of Dengue Forum, a forum of Nigerians living in the United States of America and Canada. So I really, really have been so grateful to them for connecting me to as many people as possible. And I also have to thank the president of Dengue Forum and the key members, Alhaji Usman Danyina, for admitting me in their WhatsApp group, despite I'm not an American and I've never been to the US. I would say I've never even been, shame on me, I've never even been to our airport here in Mala Amin Kano International Airport here in Kano. I've never been there. There was a time when I passed by it and I saw it from a distance, and that's a shame, to be honest with you. One day we'll get there, inshallah. Other people I would thank are Alhaji Garba Suleiman Krako Madakin Samanaka, who is a Nigerian has been living in Boston, in Massachusetts, for more than 30 years and has been voting as an American for about that kind of time. Dr. Yusuf Aliyu Harandi, former Voice of America House of Service journalist, now working at Indiana University in Pennsylvania. Many thanks indeed. Alhaji Sani Safianu, who has voted for Donald Trump I also have to thank you because I engaged him in a live debate on our Hausa News, 2:30, 2:30 news here at Hikima Radio, together with his friend Alhaji Inwa Garba Affa, who voted for Kamala Harris. And both of them, we gave them a platform here at Hikima Radio, on Hikima Radio. We gave them a platform for them to speak their minds, to tell us the reasons why they were voting for the person they were voting for. And they literally gave us their own reasons, and they proved themselves. So I think it's a congratulations to Alhaji Sani Safianu, who is based in New York, and Inu Afa, based in Houston, Texas, there in the US. I There are a lot of people that I'm gonna have to thank. Naziru Mikhail Abubakar, currently doing his PhD in at University of Westminster in London, in the UK. He used to work for the BBC, and he even rose to the head of the like the editor of Abuja Bureau. He worked for BBC World Service, BBC, spent 5 years at BBC Africa Desk, and stuff like that. So we did a not conference, a panel interview with him and Gina London and Hugh Fraser, and it was very fantastic, a day before the US election. So Gina London, former CNN journalist, many thanks indeed to her for appearing on my show. I really, really appreciate it. And Hugh Fraser really, really has become so fundamental in and instrumental in my interviews and programs. Thank you very much. Indeed, Professor Jeff Kelly Lowenstein, I will never forget you for all your contributions and assistance and support. Definitely, this has been a very interesting. Yes, there is Bashir Muhammad. He lives in Ohio. He also contributed to Hikima Radio News. Alhaji Salis Danyaru. He was the reason why I got to join the Dengue Forum WhatsApp group, despite the fact that I've never been to the US. I've never been to Amala Aminu Kano Airport, let alone traveling or flying. Unfortunately, to Lagos or Abuja, let alone flying out of Nigeria. But inshallah, we're getting there. I can't thank all of you enough. You have been absolutely instrumental. Dr. Amina Ali really, really has been so instrumental, also has contributed to me. I recorded an interview with her on Thursday, the 7th of November, which is going to be out, inshallah. It's going to be available. Leah Intentment, I will never forget you for being on my YouTube show and on my radio show. I think one of the lessons that I have learned from covering this election is that it's enthusiastic, it's interesting, it's enthralling. It's absolutely mind-blowing to cover this election, especially when you happen to know the complexities, the ins and outs of the elections, the country's politics and foreign policy that you're covering. And when it happens that you have a lot of materials at hand and contacts, the right contacts who would contribute to you, there is nothing better than that, to be honest with you. Knowing that I have got people in the US, I've got people in Europe, I've got people in different parts of the world that I could just dial their number or WhatsApp them and then get what I want. Oh my God, that feeling is absolutely remarkable and interesting. And Alhamdulillah, this has been a remarkable journey. It's just the beginning, and inshallah, we believe that as we are progressing, we'll be improving, or we'll be, inshallah, becoming more and more professional in whatever we are doing. So the lessons that I think we're gonna have to learn from this is patience, persistence, and trying to learn the best practices, trying to do the right thing and getting the right contacts, being well informed. And so it like when if it were now Indian election that we're covering, we would just shift our attention to India and get the right people to speak to us, both those who could speak in Hausa and those who could speak in English. If we were covering elections in China, let's hope one is gonna come in the near future. If we were covering elections in China, we'd just look for Nigerians living in China, would look for experts, Chinese experts and African experts in Chinese politics and policies and stuff like that, and then we'll just speak to them. And that has been Absolutely remarkable and interesting. I think, let me not bore you with my own boring English and explanation and stuff like that. And there's, get out of here. Kamala, you fired. Get out of here. I think Donald Trump said that. So we gotta go also. Thank you very much indeed. I wish you all the best. My name is Umar Isa Dandago. On behalf of the Global Arena family, Aisha Rafai Jiga and Mariam Saleh Adamu, I really appreciate, and all the people that contribute to me, that are behind me, pushing me, and they don't want their names to be pronounced. I really acknowledge your contributions, and I really acknowledge your own support and whatever. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Umar Isa and go a freelance journalist based in Kano State, Northern Nigeria. Goodbye. See you very soon, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.